Okay folks, today's video is going to be part 1 on how to start your own prepper group. And it's going to cover such topics of how to find other preppers to get to join your group and what type of interview questions that you could ask prospective possible new recruits. And then there will be a part 2 video that will talk about how to keep your newly formed prepper group cohesive and how to foresee strife within your group and how to keep it from happening. And let's credit community member General Redneck for the topic of today's video as he brought up this question. But let's jump into part 1 now. So the first thing real quick is if you are wanting to start your own prepper group, you may just want to ensure that there are no other already pre-existing prepper groups in your area. You may want to search meetup.com or the American Preppers Network statewide or state directory to make sure that somebody else in your area is not trying to form a prepper group, or if there are prepper groups already formed, because this just might save you a lot of time and a lot of hassle. But if you are adamant that you want to start your own group, then here are some pointers that I would elect to do in deciding if a possible new recruit would be a good fit for my group or not. Okay, real quick, even before starting to reach out to other preppers to try to recruit them into your group, the first thing that I would do would be to make a mission statement for my group. Doing this will help to show that your group is going to be serious, and it will also help to attract serious preppers. So just having something that's just a couple of paragraphs long, just some kind of a brief statement, just something that will give a broad overview of what your group hopes to achieve and how your group will conduct themselves pre-SHTF and also post-SHTF should suffice in keeping your group pointed in the correct direction and again remaining a serious group instead of just being some type of a ragtag group. So now, since you decided that you definitely want to start your own prepper group, and since you've written a good mission statement to keep your group to be a serious group, now it's time for you to go out and find other preppers to recruit them into your group. So here's just a quick list of possible places that you could go and find other preppers to recruit them into your group. Preppergroups.com, prepperlink.com, meetup.com to see if there's any prepper training classes or anything like that going on in your area. Your local gun club is probably also another good place. A 3%er or a militia group in your area is probably another good place. Also, your local Army, Navy surplus store is probably a good place. Once you spend enough time in there that you're getting to know the employees and the other regular shoppers that are there. And then there's always the option of starting your own prepper training classes in your area that will attract preppers where you can meet them that way. Okay, now since you know some places that you can meet potential preppers and potential new recruits, now you need to know how to approach them, how to do the initial approach. Now, with meeting preppers through a website that's geared towards preppers or at prepper training classes, you obviously know that they are definitely preppers, so that's a bit different. But if you're meeting somebody at the gun club or at the local Army Navy surplus store, then you don't automatically know that they're a prepper, so you're going to have to approach them in a different way. Now, obviously, you're probably not going to try to find out if somebody's a prepper or a possible new recruit for your group without having spoken to them numerous times. I've gotten a pretty good feel of what kind of a person they are. And when I meet somebody, and again have met them and bumped into them and had numerous conversations with them over time, but when I meet somebody and I start suspecting that they're a prepper, obviously I just don't want to come right out and ask them if they're a prepper. So I'd like to do kind of kind of a conversation builder with them. First, in general conversation, I might mention that I like to garden and that I like to use rain barrels to catch rain so I can water my garden with. And then if they, in return, if they say that they also like gardening and that they also have rain barrels, then I might mention a few minutes later in the conversation, I might mention that I like to use the Berkey water purifier to purify my water with it, and how I like how it takes junk out of the city water and makes my water pure. And then if they in turn say that they also have a Berkey or some other type of water purification system, then I'm starting to get a pretty good idea that they are a prepper themselves, because they're talking, they're saying that they have a lot of flags that you would see that preppers generally will have. And then even a few more minutes into the conversation, or the next time that I bump into them during the conversation, I might somehow find a way to bring up that I don't like the fact that our currency is a fiat currency and not based on precious metals anymore. And if they again return in kind, talking about how they don't like how our economy is run and how they think our economy is fragile, then at that point you can be pretty darn certain that you are talking to another prepper. And if all of my past conversations with this person has told me that he's definitely a prepper, and that he seems to be a pretty good person, has high moral standings, moral ground, or however you want to word it, and you think this person could possibly be a good fit for your group that you're trying to form, then it would be at that point then that I would actually approach that person, let them know that I'm forming a preparedness group, and that I am interested in seeing if he would be willing or wanting to be a part of that. And then if you're not comfortable with giving this person your telephone number, then you may just want to consider opening up a Yahoo account or a Gmail account, or just some kind of an email account that's specifically for your prepper group purposes. And then you can just simply give them your email address. That way they can reach back out to you, and you guys can, and then you folks can then set up a date and time to meet later and discuss that person joining your group at a later time. Okay, now since you've met some people that have shown interest in joining your group, now obviously you're going to want to make sure that they are a good fit for your group, because if SHTF happens, you may be forced to start living in cramped living quarters together, and you may have to depend on each other for your lives. And you don't want any kind of major differences or internal strife happening in your group during SHTF. First, you need to be perfectly clear up front with any possible new recruits of what you will and will not accept in your group. Telling them up front that you will not accept anybody in your group that has opposing political beliefs or a pretty bad criminal history will save the both of you a lot of wasted time. And here's just a few sample interview questions that you may want to ask any potential new recruits for your group. I would definitely ask that new recruit what their political beliefs are and what their moral beliefs are, because I would have to know that that person's political views and their morals are going to be pretty close in line with mine. Because during SHTF, if a very difficult and very hard decision has to be made by the group, it could cause great strife within your group if people's ideologies are extremely different. So being somewhat politically aligned is important to me. It may not be important for you, but it is important for me, because having an anti-gun person that worships Che Guevara in my group probably would not work out. And then I would also ask any potential new recruits about their past criminal history, and then confirm what they told me by performing a background check myself. Many states have free public information that's available online, such as court cases in that state. If you remember, one of the reasons why our forefathers fought the Revolutionary War was because one of the reasons was they were tired of the British government, secretly arresting people and secretly charging them. So when our Constitution was written, it was written in a way that said that if the government arrests somebody and charges somebody, it has to be made available to the public. So in today's day and age, with the internet, many states will have an online database that will show every court case against the citizens of that state again, free and online. So if I were starting a new prepper group, I would definitely check all new potential recruits against that online database just to make certain that I'm not accepting somebody in my group that's been arrested in the past for child abuse or has multiple alcohol-related offenses and violent crimes and stuff like that. Now, before we hit the next point, a poll should be appearing in the upper right-hand corner of the screen just about now. And do me a favor and go take that poll and let me know usually how much of one of my videos do you usually watch. Let me know that if once you hit the play button for that video, do you watch the whole video, or do you usually only watch about half of the video, or do you usually only get about 20 seconds in the video and get bored and clicked off? So do me a favor and just let me know. Now, I kind of briefly mentioned this earlier, but when checking a possible new recruit's criminal background, I'm going to make, besides, obviously looking for any, child molesting or violent crimes or anything like that, drug dealing, stuff like that, I'm also going to look at their alcohol related history. And if I see a lot of alcohol related arrests, that would make me concerned to bring that person into my group. I have nothing against anybody that enjoys a few drinks, that if they want to have beers when they get off from work, they want to get a little buzz and have a good time. As long as they don't get violent and stupid, I don't care if somebody else drinks or not. I personally don't touch alcohol, but if somebody else wants to, that is perfectly fine. But if their alcohol usage is causing quite a few arrests, then that would cause me concern. Now, there's a lot of people out there who have a DUI, and that's not a big problem. There's millions of people out there have a DUI. That would not concern me. It would be if I see repeated arrests that are related to alcohol. And I've just seen a lot of people that were great people while they were sober, but then they just turn into total monsters when they're intoxicated. And then in the interview questions, I would also make everybody, any possible new recruits, everybody, including myself, to reveal what medical issues that they suffer from and what medications that they are on. And then with this information, you would just have to weigh the benefits and the risks of allowing somebody that's got some pretty serious medical issues into your group. Now, if somebody has a serious ailment that will probably kill them a few weeks or a few months after SHTF, but this person has a lot of skills and a lot of knowledge, until that time happens, that person can be a great asset to your group, again, until that time comes. And then, of course, if a person has a serious ailment and they have no skills or knowledge, then obviously they won't be a good asset for your group. And another interview question that I would ask any prospective new recruits would be for them to list what knowledge and skills that they possess that could benefit the group. And I would also let them know that they will be expected to showcase their skills and their knowledge. This does two things. Number one, it keeps this potential new recruit from lying to you about what skills and knowledge that they have. But then also too, when that new recruit showcases his knowledge and his skills to the rest of the group during normal training sessions, that's what they call cross-training, where everybody in the group learns from each other, and that can only help to further benefit your group. And then during the interview, I would ask any potential new recruits of just how much food and other items that they have already stockpiled. And then I would also let that new recruit know that your group has a minimal amount that is expected for each member to have in order to remain inside of the group. And it's not unusual for a group to accept a new member with less food than what's expected, but then they do also clarify with that new recruit that he is expected to build that food up over time. Another interview question that I would ask potential new recruits is, would they remain an active member? And I would also ask them if they would be able to make the majority of the regular meetings that your group will be having. Now, most groups do not require 100% perfect attendance to these regular meetings because life just gets in the way. But most groups at least expect members to make the majority of the meetings or they face removal from the group. And then before this new recruit is actually accepted into the group, the new recruit should actually be invited to cookouts or just some relaxed hanging out time. And this can allow just for general conversation and for you to get just a good feel of how this person thinks. People can always bluff their way through interview questions, but relaxed time together and just general conversation really helps to get, a new recruit relaxed and for him to really open up for you to really find out if he's going to make a good fit for your group or not. And while all of you are hanging out at a cookout or what have you, the conflicted card game is a great game to play to really get a good feel of somebody. These card games are really full of a lot of questions that will give you a good idea of somebody's morals and how they would react under stressful situations, and they would really give you a good idea if this person is going to be a good fit for your group or not. And if you'd be interested in buying a couple of the decks of the conflicted card games, the link should be appearing in the upper right hand corner of the screen just about now. Click on that link, go to my Amazon store. Hey, and I'll get a little bit of money if you make the purchase, and it doesn't cost you any extra money. And I think this is probably a pretty obvious thing to say, but while you are feeling out this possible new recruit, you probably don't want to show him any bug out locations or show him all of your food or all of your stuff or anything like that. That kind of stuff comes once you develop a lot more trust in a person. And this is going to be pretty obvious to say also, but this getting to know each other time should not take place over just a couple of meetings. This needs to take place over several months. You really need to get to know this person good before you really start developing any trust in this person, especially since they might have to have your back during SHTF. Now folks, I can't go into every single idea or every single interview question that could be asked, otherwise this video would end up being hours long. But if you have some great tips that you would like to add, or some excellent additional interview questions, then please comment below with them so that we can all learn from each other. And folks, also remember that a part 2 of this video will be coming out soon that will cover keeping your group, your newly formed group, cohesive and keep it from falling apart on you. And then if you would like to see a video and learn how to find a pre-existing prepper retreat group, then click on the link that should be appearing in the upper right hand corner of the screen just about now, because this video will give you some solid tips on finding a pre-existing group and how to get invited into that group. And every prepper should know how to be able to garden without using store-bought pesticides and fertilizers, because that stuff will not be able to be bought after SHTF and the store shelves are stripped bare. So to learn how to do a true survival garden, then click on the video on the right side of the screen now. Anyways folks, if you made it this far, hey, thank you very much for watching, and I pray that you have a good night.